Ciao and welcome to a new video. Today I will be showing you how to service this beautiful Italian Vespa. It is the Vespa Sei Giorni 300, so it has 300 cc's of pure power. I will be showing you how to carry out a full service on this machine, including air filter, oil filter, spark plug. But first we need to warm up this huge engine and allow it to warm up so that the fluids drain out nice and easily. So that was my attempt at an Italian accent. Let me translate for you. Today I'm going to be carrying out a service on this little Vespa 300. It's a really nice little machine, but first of all I need to work out how to start it. It turns out that the side stand's got a switch on it, a safety feature, so you can't ride along with the side stand down. So just make sure that's up and then you can start it. Just listen to that baby purr. Ooh. This is my first time riding a little Vespa scooter, and I have to say it was really nimble and quite fun to ride. But would I prefer that over the Triumph Bonneville over here? I'm not so sure. What would you prefer, Triumph Bonneville or little Vespa scooter? Let me know in the comments. Let's have a look to see what we get in our service kit. So here we have a high flow air filter, 2 litres of good quality Motul oil, a little high flow oil filter, and an NGK spark plug. So all good quality parts, and I'll put a link to that service kit in the description if you need to get one. We're going to start off by replacing the air filter, and to make our life a bit easier we're going to take this side panel off. You're going to need a T25 Torx bit to remove that screw at the front, and at the back it's got a 10mm nut just underneath here. So once you've removed those, you can then remove this side panel, and you do that by just pulling it away from the side, and then it's got a couple of little tabs on the corner, so just be careful you don't snap them off, and just gently wiggle it out from the side of the scooter. Now you're going to want to switch to a Phillips number 2 to remove the 6 screws on this lower section of the filter cover. So just take all of those out. And there are 2 more at the top which are slightly more difficult to get to. To make your life easier, pop the seat up and remove the tray which is under the seat. And this will give you much better access to the top of that filter cover. And you can see here there are 2 more screws. If they're not too tight you might be able to undo these by hand, but if not they have got a Phillips screwdriver head in them, so you can just use your ratchet with a screwdriver bit in the end of it to loosen them off. Once you've loosened them off with the ratchet you can then get in there and take them out by hand, and then just remove the cover. And inside it you'll have your foam air filter. Now you may be looking at this air filter thinking to yourself, Ollie, why are you even bothering changing that? It looks clean anyway. Now in this case it's not so much the cleanliness of the filter, it's more the age of it. These foam filters disintegrate in time, and the last thing we want is for little pieces of foam being sucked into the engine, because that will seriously damage it. And for the sake of a new filter cost, it's really not worth the risk, so just put a new one in. I give the filter housing a good clean out. If yours is dirtier than this, you could always take it to the sink and give it a good scrub out with some washing up liquid and warm water. Just make sure it's thoroughly dry before you put all this back together. The air filter doesn't come pre-oiled, so we need to oil it first. You can get a special oil for air filters which is slightly more tacky than engine oil, but because a service kit comes with surplus engine oil, I'm just going to be using that. So just put some on your air filter and massage it in so you've got a nice even coating all over your filter. You don't want to put too much on there because it will restrict the airflow and that will affect the performance of the bike. And equally you want to make sure there's enough on there that it doesn't allow dust particles to go through the filter and into the engine. So just put a nice even coating on there, that's all I do, just massage it all over, and then you can refit it back in the filter housing. If you can also see those plastic bulbs on the bottom of the filter cover, these sometimes have oil and water residue in them, so you might need to take them off and clean them out, or you may need to replace them if they're perished. Once you're happy your filter's been oiled up and it's all nice and clean, you can refit the cover using the 8 securing screws. And if we take a closer look at these two, you can see the Phillips head in the top, so you can use a tool if you really need to. We're now going to move on to change the oil and oil filter. So locate the dipstick and fill point on the left hand side of the engine, remove that and check the current oil level. You can see it's at the top of the hatched markings, so that's absolutely fine, and the condition of the oil is not too bad, but we're going to be changing it anyway. The drain plug's located on the other side of the bike, just underneath the exhaust pipe there, and you're going to need a 24mm socket. I've also got this angled funnel so I can direct the oil away from the centre stand. It's a bit of an awkward position for a drain plug being directly above the centre stand, because you can't put your catch tray directly below it. You have to funnel the oil into your catch tray. It's always best to wear gloves when you're dealing with old engine oil because it is carcinogenic, so just bear that in mind. I allow most of the oil to drain out before removing the sediment screen, and then that way it doesn't pour out everywhere. So using my long nose pliers, I remove the sediment screen and give it a thorough clean. I use a little bit of carb spray. You can use brake cleaner as well if you want, just to clean out the filter screen. Just beware though, carb cleaner is quite aggressive, especially on rubber O-rings, so don't spray it directly on the O-ring, just on the main filter part, and then I just wipe off the excess. I do the same with the drain plug, just give it a good spray out, thorough clean and inspect the O-rings, replace if required, but these are absolutely fine, so that's going to go back in. To get the last little bit of oil out the sump, I take it off the centre stand and just tilt it over, and that way we can drain out the last little bit in the bottom. There are lots of different oil filter removal tools on the market, but I like to use this strap wrench type. So it's just a strap which goes on your ratchet, and then you just wrap it round, and then you can grip the filter and loosen it off. Once you've loosened it off, you can just get in there and unscrew it by hand. You just spin it off and make sure you've got your funnel underneath it so you can direct the oil into the drain pan. You can then give it a good clean up round where the filter sits, making sure the surfaces are nice and clean, and where the sump plug sits. And then you can refit the sediment screen, make sure it's seated in there properly, and then refit the plug. If you've got a torque wrench, it's 24 to 30 Newton meters for the sump plug, but if not, just give it a little nip up and that'll be fine. Just look how cute this little oil filter is. HF183 if you need to get one. Like I say, there's links below. And it comes pre-oiled, which is a nice touch. So just screw that onto the engine, spin it on, and if you need to tighten it up a little bit, use a strap wrench just to give it a little nip up. And then we can fill it with our good quality Motul oil. So remove the dipstick and just wipe off any residue that's on there. Find a suitable funnel and fill up the engine with 1 litre of your 5W40 fully synthetic oil. And once you've got a litre in there, check the level on the dipstick. Now some engines you have to screw in the dipstick to get the level, and some engines you just dip it in. I'm pretty certain that this one you just dip in. So you can see there the oil's at the top of the hatched area. So I'm now going to start the scooter and allow the engine oil to circulate, and that will fill the oil filter up. With the engine started, just go around and have a check around your oil filter and the drain plug to make sure you haven't got any leaks. And once you're happy, switch it back off, check the level again, and then top it up as required. This engine takes approximately 1.3 litres of oil. We've already put 1 litre in there, and when you start the engine, the oil circulates around the oil filter, and so the oil level drops. So make sure you don't run the engine for too long because it will be running low on oil. So just top it back up with the extra 300 mils that you need for the complete oil change. And then give it one last check by dipping it in, and it should look like this at the top of the hatched area on the dipstick. So screw that back in and we're done with the oil change. And we've still got 700 mils of oil left, so next time we buy a service kit with 2 litres of oil in it, we can buy ourselves an extra oil filter, and 2 service kits will essentially give us 3 oil changes. So you buy 2, you get 1 free. Now I've saved the best one till last, replacing the spark plug. So let's just pop the seat up and then I'll show you where the spark plug is. It's not very easy to get to, it's actually right down here. So let me try and show you as best I can what I'm doing. This is a spark plug cap, you can just about see it. So let's pull that off, give it a careful wiggle, and then that comes off. Let's get our new spark plug and see which size socket we need. This comes in the service kit, but there's a part number there if you want to buy everything individually. We need a 16mm deep socket for this spark plug, so get your socket on your ratchet and then try and get it in that little space to remove the old spark plug. And here we have the old spark plug. Let's compare it to the new one. You can see it's got quite a lot of carbon deposit on the old spark plug there. I'd say looking at the age and mileage of the scooter, and we don't have any service history to know when this was last serviced, this looks to me like it's just lots of shorter runs, so the engine doesn't fully get up to temperature to burn off those carbon deposits. Usually a black spark plug means it's running rich, so it could be that you've got a blocked air filter, or perhaps the injector's overfueling slightly. These are a couple of options, but for this engine I'd say that's completely normal considering the age and mileage being fairly low. A tip for fitting your new spark plug: screw it in by hand as much as possible before you use any tools on it. And the reason I say this is because the engine's made out of aluminium, which is a soft metal, whereas a spark plug's made out of steel, which is much harder, so it's easy to cross thread the threads in the engine where the spark plug goes if you're not careful. Ask me how I know. So once you've got your spark plug in there and you've screwed it up by hand most of the way, you can then use a torque wrench just to tighten it up to the required specification. And I usually do spark plugs at 15 Newton meters. I'm not sure what the exact specification is, but I find that's low enough so you're not going to strip the threads in the engine, and it's tight enough that it seals up properly. So once you're happy it's torqued to specification, you can refit the spark plug cap and then start it up and make sure it runs alright. And that's it, you're done. It's as easy as that. I hope you found this video useful and you found value in this content. If you did, please don't forget to give it a thumbs up. Consider subscribing to the channel if you're not already subscribed. And if you click the alarm bell, you'll get notifications when I post new videos. And the YouTube has also introduced the new hype button, which means if you press hype below, it'll help the small creators like the Turner's Workshop get more views, which would be absolutely fantastico. Grazie e presto. Cheers guys, and hopefully I'll see you in the next one. Take care and bye for now.